So this is an interesting video. Welcome back. How is Germany the richest country in Europe? I didn't know it was. I thought it was like Luxembourg. Anyway, at least GDP per capita. Maybe Germany has the highest GDP overall. Maybe that's what that's saying. That makes sense. Would it be like Volkswagen and all the car manufacturers?
At the time of making this video, Germany's GDP is estimated to be around 4.2 trillion US dollars.
Not
This
bad.
amount of money is hard to comprehend. However, it is still less than the combined market cap of the two
Look how beautiful this city. Oh my gosh, it's so expansive. Ugh. I want to go visit so bad.
most valuable brands on the planet, Apple and Saudi Aramco, whose total market cap is valued at 5 trillion US dollars.
Honestly, I'm more impressed about Apple being half as big as Germany. Apple's so big, you could buy half of Germany with the same money. Not that half of Germany's for sale, but you know, you get what I'm saying. Apple's freaking huge. But Germany, yeah, 4 trillion. That's incredible.
An economy size of 4.2 trillion makes Germany the fourth richest country in the world when looking at this metric.
Wow.
Of
And of
Germany,
course,
the
if you do it per capita, I think it's a lot more comparable to the United States there.
fourth richest country in the world when looking at this metric. Of course, this does not reflect individual wealth, but the wealth of the value of all finished goods and
Look how freaking amazing this looks. It looks like out of a Disney movie, okay? You don't walk around America and see architecture like that. It's way too intricate. It's like they don't, that would cost too much money, I feel like. It would take too long.
services made within Germany during a specific period. Only Japan, China, and the USA have a larger economy.
And China's got like 100 billion people.
Each have a population 1.5, 16.6, and 4 times larger respectively. So just how is Germany the richest country in Europe? Well, Germany is an economic powerhouse. It sits in the middle of Europe, is a founding member of the EU, and is the second most populated country on the continent, only behind Russia, which kind of cheats
83 million. Okay.
by sitting
For some reason, I was thinking it was more like 60 million.
in 2 continents. Only the Dutch.
There's more people in
Russia.
Germany than the United Kingdom. That puts it just into a different perspective somehow to me. Germany is quite large.
Which kind of cheats by sitting in 2 continents. Only the Dutch work fewer hours among the 34 members of the OECD, which contains 38 countries from around the world. That German children spend 25% less time in the classroom than their Italian counterparts, and that there are 6 more productive economies in Europe alone, and yet Germany still has the strongest economy in Europe. So first things first, let's take a look at how
That's
Germany
pretty
compares
amazing.
to other European countries in terms of GDP. So the
Did he just say they work less hours than almost every other European country and yet they have more GDP?
how Germany compares to other
for you
European
guys.
countries in terms of GDP. So the UK sits just below them with 3.1 trillion. Next is France at 2.9 trillion, Italy at 2.1 trillion, and then Russia at 1.6 trillion US dollars. However, it must be noted that due to the sanctions from Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it is likely that Russia's economy size is actually much lower than this figure. So Germany comfortably takes the crown as the richest country by GDP on the continent. In
And it might take the crown of the most beautiful too. At least this city.
2016, Germany recorded the highest trade surplus in the world,
Is that
worth
Berlin?
over $300 billion.
Wow. Yeah, I do feel like that's how you make a rich economy, is having surplus exports.
This economic result made it the biggest capital exporter globally. Germany is one of
Look at the amount of sailboats. Is that like an event going on, or is that just how y'all ride in Germany? That's incredible. Are no motors allowed in that lake, you think? That is so cool. They must not allow motors. Or maybe they do, but, well, I see some boats without a sail. Huh, look at all the sailboats. That's so neat.
exporters in the world, with around $2 trillion worth of goods and services exported in 2019.
Yep, motor vehicles, machinery, chemicals.
The automotive industry gross production value in Germany accounts for roughly 500 billion euros in total sales. In 2019, around 3.5 million vehicles were exported, which was around 20% of all exported cars in the world.
Wow.
The industry employs around 800,000 people within Germany and accounts for around 10% of the total national GDP. German cars are known around the world for their quality and value. Brands such as BMW.
I always wanted an Audi. Now I kind of want a Tesla, but I always wanted an Audi. I'll take the Audi.
Mercedes, Audi, and Porsche are some of the most prestigious brands in the world. With a revenue of $278 billion in 2019, Volkswagen is Germany's biggest company. It is the 133rd most valuable brand at a market cap of around $105 billion. However, what blows my mind is that a company of this caliber is still 27 times smaller in terms of market cap than the most valuable company, Apple, at around $2.7
Yeah, that is just bizarre.
trillion at the time of making this video.
Apple probably just has such incredible profit margins.
So Germany's GDP makes them the richest country in Europe, but as mentioned earlier, this does not reflect the wealth of its citizens. Let's look at the USSR as an example. It was an extremely wealthy empire, but the everyday citizens who lived in it were very poor. So instead, let's take a look at GDP per capita.
I don't think Germans
which is
are
a more
poor.
accurate way of seeing the true wealth of citizens. For this, Germany ranks 17th in the world and actually 12th in Europe. So not bad, but certainly not as good as where their total GDP ranks them. It must be noted, however, that some of the nations that rank above Germany are
I think they're all pretty close, though. Like those top 12.
ranks them. It must be noted, however, that some of the nations that rank above Germany are incredibly small, such as San Marino and Luxembourg,
Dang, that place is really beautiful too.
whose populations are 34,000 and 642,000 respectively. So it's not a fair comparison for a country who has 84 million. However, these stats do not lie, and although Germany is a financial powerhouse, its citizens on average aren't so much compared to other countries around them. When it comes to average salaries, Germany ranks 11th in the world and 8th in Europe.
There's a lot of numbers going on here. But see, 53 and then 5th place is 58. It's just not that big of a
At
difference.
just under 54,000 US dollars or
Just
50,000 euros. So again, not bad, but not the best. When it comes to enormous wealth, Germany has the 4th highest amount of billionaires in the world at around 134.
Now that's interesting. The 4th highest amount of billionaires. I'm trying to think of the implications of that compared to the
Only
other
India,
sets.
China, and the US have more. This means that there are around 3 billionaires per 2 million people in Germany. At around 3 million, Germany has the 4th most billionaires in the world, only behind Japan,
Millionaires.
China, and the USA. This
Wow, look at that. There's too many freaking millionaires here in the USA. How do I become one of them? I'm trying to figure that out. But hey, there's 3 million of y'all in Germany.
means Germany is responsible for over 5% of all millionaires in the world. There is
That's crazy.
absolutely no
So the GDP per capita, they're like, whatever, 17th or something. But as far as having millionaires, there's a lot of them in Germany. Number 4, right? Number 4, yeah. That's interesting. So it's weighted kind of toward the top. Like there's a lot of upper middle class people there.
doubt that Germany has benefited greatly from the euro. By getting into bed with more sluggish economies in southern Europe, Germany adopted a much weaker currency than would otherwise have been the case. As one of the very few countries in the world running a balance of payments surplus, the Deutschmark would have been a great deal stronger than the euro. However, this has provided a terrific boost to German exports, which are cheaper to overseas consumers as a result. But this goes only some way to explaining Germany's current economic might. Just as important are the relative low levels of private debt. While the rest of Europe gorged on cheap credit throughout the 1990s and noughties, German companies
So Germans are a little bit more financially intellectual than some of the rest of the world.
and individuals refuse to spend beyond their means. In German, borrowing is Schulden, which is the same word for guilt. There is an attitude
Oh, interesting how words like that can
that if you
tell you a little bit about the culture and the mindset.
have to borrow, there is something wrong with you. This has been particularly beneficial to Germany in recent years. Unlike its European counterparts,
I think Americans might need a little bit more of that attitude. Just a little bit. Some of them. A lot of them get a credit card and they forget that you have to pay it back.
consumers and businesses did not need to slash spending to cut their debt levels when banks stopped lending during the 2008 crash and recession. Germany is pretty much positioned to become astronomically wealthy. Germany is centrally situated in Europe, has access to the sea, and
It
has
is a very convenient location, isn't it? Look at it as far as providing goods like cars to the rest of Europe and the world.
great river connections.
Maybe that's why
Germany
Tesla
can
built
service markets
their
across
new
Europe
factory there.
from its central location. Germany also has access to both iron and coal, which means it can make steel and generate power without having to import anything. The Germans have a fairly homogeneous culture, barring a lot of immigrants from Turkey in the post-war era. That culture stresses value of hard work, thrift, education, and collective action, a perfect combination.
Maybe they're only showing the most beautiful parts. I can't be sure. I'd have to go check out for myself. But I do have to say, as far as like the tax dollars, sorry about that, and how they look like they put it to use on the roads and infrastructure and everything, it looks more well put together than here in the States. It looks beautiful and clean. So clean.
For creating successful companies and industries. The Germans came out of World War II with a destroyed infrastructure, but a lot of smart people. With the help of the Marshall Plan, they were able to rebuild the infrastructure, and the smart people worked with great diligence to restore their material wealth.
Did that?
Infrastructure
The Marshall Plan aid to Germany was $1 million. $1 million. And it allowed them to rise from the ashes. That's not that much money.
and the smart people worked with great diligence to
I get it was more back then,
restore
but
their material wealth. Germany had a pre-war reputation for making high-quality goods, and German companies traded on that reputation in the post-war era, making things like cars, industrial equipment, chemicals, and electronical goods. The German people have had a
electronical.
very stable political system since the war too. When reunification became possible, the West Germans mobilized quickly to make it happen and deployed a lot of money
Beautiful
to smooth the
graffiti
transition.
as well.
There was relatively little objection in German society to the reunification,
that.
even
That's
though
so cool.
it was quite expensive. So to summarize, Germany is a resource-rich, geographically central country with a large population who have the right values to be successful and with a political system that is very stable. Thank you for watching, and we will see you
Wow.
very soon in the
That is a very interesting perspective to take on Germany. I've never really thought about how centrally located it is. It has access to the sea for shipping. Amazing. So you guys really kind of set up to succeed. It's no wonder you guys do. Well, and you got smart people. Smart people and set up to succeed naturally. Boom. I look forward to Germany. Well, I don't know. I look forward to getting an Audi. That's what I look forward to. Hey, thank you for watching. You can subscribe if you want. I do only German reactions on this channel. So, hey, if you like the video, you can subscribe. But thanks for watching either way. And I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Goodbye.